You see this? You see this booklet? Huh? You know how you get this? This is what you get. It's not a booklet, it's a notebook. So, stop correcting me. Hey, stop changing the subject. Listen, this is what you get when you find a YouTube notebook somewhere. Okay, big time subject changer. Rogers Hornsby. In the conversation for one of the best batters ever. Between 1921 and 1925, Hornsby played second base for the St. Louis Cardinals. And during that stretch, he led the National League in home runs in 1922 and 1925, winning Triple Crowns both years. He hit .424 in 1924, led the National League in on-base percentage, slugging, and OPS 5 straight times, led the National League in hits, doubles, runs, and RBIs 3 times, and triples once in that span. I decided we should take a quick look at his baseball reference page. 127 WAR. In 1920, he starts really breaking out, leading the league, and that's what the time period around the time period 1921 that I isolated. But he produced for a nice stretch. I would say that throughout the 1920s, he was a force. That was just an amazing decade for him. You can look at, he maxed out at 42 home runs in 1922, which is pretty crazy. You see he had in 1924, he had a 424 batting average. His OPS career is 1007. And, just really an amazing career. And one other thing I wanted to look at real quick, and that is, how did Ted Williams rank him in his top 20 hitters that he put, the list he put together in 1994? He has Rogers Hornsby as 4th, with just Jimmy Fox, Lou Gehrig, and Babe Ruth ahead of him. I suspect that Ted Williams may have put himself ahead of him as well, but he didn't add himself to this list. Nicknamed the Raja, won 7 batting crowns and hit .358 lifetime, highest for a right-hand batter in the history of the game. And this is a card that I've been looking at for a long time. I didn't actually think I would get one. My bids have stayed the same, but this time it worked, surprisingly. And let's take a look at the back here. It's in, no big problems for a card of this era for me. It's readable. The surface is intact. All around, the surface is intact. Of course, it's very rounded. But I really love this card. It sort of looks like the Goudey version of the Diamond Stars in its coloration. I feel like this is one of the few Goudey cards that could mix in with some Diamond Stars cards and look like it's not out of place. So that's a huge one for me. And I'll just quickly take a look at a couple other cards I haven't shown. This is a tiny card. You can also see my fingers. This is a 1901 Ogden, Winston Churchill. And you can see it says Morning Post War Correspondent. There are some versions of this card. In the back, it explains that he was a prisoner of war. But this one doesn't have that back. There's many variations of this in sizes. I'm not sure about the details of those just yet. And this card I've shown before, but I don't think I've ever shown it well. It's Alberto Santos Dumont, who was a early aviator in Paris. He was a Brazilian aviator. This one has a back that is more similar to the one I was just mentioning, the one where Winston Churchill says he was a POW. So this talks a little bit about Santos Dumont. the famous aeronaut, as it says. And around the 1900s, he had his own personal lighter than air flying machine that he flew around Paris, which is super crazy awesome. This is also a tiny card. So this is a 1915 Cuban Susini card. There is a Susini card of Tris Speaker that Mangini mentioned that he had. Post-production, I decided I would show it. So this is the same manufacturer in Cuba, and I kind of wanted to give I was looking through their cards, and I wanted to just sample one because they look so cool. And I would say they do not disappoint. This is like really super cool, and you can tell by my fingers here that it's a small card. So this is Japan. I think they have, like just representations of countries around the world, and so this is Japan. So it's like a black and white, and then the accents are really nice, I think. One more thing I'll say about my Rogers Hornsby here is he ended his career as a member of the Mets coaching staff in 1962. So that's pretty cool for a Mets fan. All right, so we have cards ranging from 1901, 1915, 1933. Thanks so much for stopping by, everybody. I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon.